All right, so I'm gonna be real with you real quick. I wasn't even gonna record a video today, but I just realized that we've been talking about all these accessories for the S22 Ultra, and I haven't even sat down with y'all to even tell you about the actual phone itself. So I was like, you know what? Let me just cut the camera on. Let's just freestyle and let's just talk about why the S22 Ultra is probably my favorite Android device of all time. Now I know that's a stretch, man, because recently I told me, favorite Android phones can kind of date back old days and kind of can go back years ago, but I'm gonna be real with you. The Z Flip 3 really had a hold on me, but except the battery life and the camera was a little bit suspect. But when it comes to this S22 Ultra, man, this about checks all the boxes that I really want into a smartphone. Even with some of its nuances that I can't really stand, I can honestly look past it because the phone is really that good. All right, so let's just go ahead and talk about it. Once again, this is straight off the head. This is just off the fly, my genuine feelings, how I feel about the S22 Ultra. Now, I know before we get started, y'all gonna be like, how you gonna talk about the S22 Ultra and you have an Apple Watch on? Now, regardless of how good this phone is, it is not gonna be on my main line. This is a secondary line. I use this kind of as a work phone, answer emails, take business calls, different things like that. My iPhone is still on my main line. It just fits into my workflow better. I have everything iOS related. So this is coming from a side that of somebody who's been using it kind of as a secondary phone. But I'm gonna tell you what, me using it as a secondary phone, I do everything up here. I respond to YouTube comments up here. I email up here. I do more stuff on a daily on this phone than I do on my iPhone. So you can kind of say that I've been using it as a daily. But let's go ahead and first start off with the design, man. Now, I'm not sure about you, but I honestly love this camera layout. I mean, it's just minimalistic. It just looks better than having the squared layout on the Plus model or the old S21 Ultra. I feel like I just like this a little bit better. I don't know about you. I think that just fits the bill, just seems a little bit more clean in my opinion on what they have going on with the design. Very thin. Now, coming from this, especially coming from somebody who's using the iPhone 13 Pro, the Pro Max, and those phones are chunky, especially that Pro Max, man. But when you're holding this phone in your hand, it does not feel heavy. It's very light, and I can navigate it pretty well. Now, yeah, you got to do a little bit of finger aerobics to kind of get to the top and kind of do different things like that. But for the most part, I'm not having an uncomfortable experience at all handling this device. So I absolutely love the design. The burgundy color is absolutely beautiful, but I don't think you can honestly go wrong with any color S22 Ultra that you get this year. I think they're all legit, especially if you went out and picked up one of those Samsung exclusive colors, which I'm still thinking about picking up because that sky blue got a hold on me ever since I seen it. So love the design of this. And normally I'm not usually a curved screen person. I usually like flat displays, but honestly, year after year, Android phones after Android phones, especially Samsung, has been getting better with the curved display and accidental touches. I don't mind it right now. And I honestly am starting to come around to the curved display thing. I really like what they have going on with it. Just a beautiful display. And talking about the display, I mean, this is a Samsung display, all right? Now, I know in the comments, y'all gonna be bombarding me, asking me what theme pack and what this setup is. Don't worry, I got a video coming out next week explaining how I set up this phone, because I know every Android video that I've done so far, people want to know about the setup. And I got a nice little surprise in that video as well. So make sure you hit that sub button and turn that bell on so you don't miss that video when it drops next week. But when it comes to the display, what more do we have to say besides this being a Samsung display? We know these are the best displays out there on the market, hands down, no competition. Absolutely love them when it comes to the displays. And yo, that 1750 nits of brightness, I was outside with my 13 Pro Max, and I think what max peaks that get to like 1,000. This 1750, and I could be wrong. I'm not with all the numbers. I just know how it looks in the daytime and according to the outside. So I was out with both of these, and I put my iPhone in my pocket, tried to use it, and I could not see it on full brightness. But I pulled this bad boy out my pocket, cranked that full brightness up, and I was looking at it just as clear as I can look at it in this room, man. This thing gets crazy bright, and it's a feature, aka a spec, that I don't feel like people should just brush over. I do think it's hella useful, especially when you're talking about in the bright sunlight, when the sun just hits it right. You know that just usually knocks off most phones, but not when it comes to this S22 Ultra. It handles it like an absolute champ. All right, now S Pen, let's go ahead and talk about it a little bit. I don't do much with the S Pen. I'm just going to keep it real with you. I don't use the S Pen a lot, but one thing that I do want to tell you is, and let's see if I can the latency on this is absolutely insane. You know, back in the day when you use this and you followed it, you can kind of like see it trailing behind. This S Pen and the latency that they've been able to reduce with it has been absolutely amazing in my opinion. Now, once again, I'm not a super heavy S Pen user. Right when I got the phone, it's funny, man. I had a document that I had to sign. I had to sign it. My girl had to sign it, and then we actually sent it off. And I was like, you know what? That's when the S Pen comes in handy. But I don't really use a lot of the S Pen. Let's just keep it real. But it's there. It's better to have it than better than to have it than not need it when you want it. You know that quote. I don't know, man. It's early Friday morning, all right? But yeah, the S Pen, in my opinion, it's one of those things that I don't use often, but if I need it, it's there. It's convenient. Very powerful feature when it comes to the S22 Ultra. All right, now let's talk about performance. All right, because once again, these phones can be all good and well. They can be shiny. They can have the best cameras, but if it doesn't perform well, then what is the phone used for? And to be real with you, and I know a lot of people disagree with MKBHD when he said this about the iPhone of the end of Pixels or the Android, the iPhone of Androids. I don't know, man, especially with that Pixel 6 Pro experience that I had, man, just wasn't up to par in my opinion. But when it comes to this S22 Ultra, I have not had a single issue with performance, with the OS. This thing has been so smooth. It has been so fluent. No issues, no bugs, no anything. The 120 hertz, everything is absolutely amazing. This is the best Samsung experience, in my opinion, that you can get right now on a smartphone. And honestly, I think it's the best Android experience that you can get on a smartphone. So I'm highly impressed with what they did. I know a lot of people were talking about the 8 Snapdragon 8th Gen 1 was hot and all of this stuff. Look, I've been using this thing heavy. I've even played a few games on it. It's perfectly fine. Don't listen to all of that stuff, man. It's perfectly fine. And I know a lot of people also complain about the RAM when it comes to this. Once again, and this does have VRAM, all right? I think I bumped my virtual RAM to maybe as much as it can possibly have because I got the storage. I'm not using a bunch of storage on it, but in my opinion, I'm not worried about the RAM, that they took some RAM away. Look, this thing is fast. It's been doing just fine. And even before I added the virtual RAM on it, it was still doing fine. So don't worry about them taking the RAM away. Yeah, you might be upset about it with the price and what they charge you and all of that, but listen, the performance is on par. This is probably one of the best performing Android phones out there, period, in my opinion. All right, so performance, you don't got anything to worry about, man. This thing right here simply gets the job done without no issues at all. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the cameras, all right? Because here's where a little controversy can start be talking about, and people always get on me because I always say this year after year after year when it comes to Samsung devices, and I still feel a little bit of that shutter lag. Now, I know you got some people saying you're not using the camera right and all of this stuff, but all of that being said, this video isn't ready to talk about the shutter lag when you take a picture. I do feel like it's still there, but there are ways to combat it. And honestly, I love the phone so much I can overlook it. All the other shots that I'm taking with this camera is very, very impressive, especially the selfie camera. I took maybe 2 selfies. It looked absolutely amazing. I really haven't tried the portrait mode, really. I need to do some camera tests, man. I don't really do camera tests because I like to leave that to the professionals out there who do camera tests, but I can tell you this is probably my favorite front-facing camera right now on a smartphone. This thing is legit right here. And then also when it comes to the zoom levels, when it comes to the 10 times, 100 times, you already know Samsung is just the best in the game just about when it comes to those zoom cameras. So testing has to go on more with the camera. I haven't tested it a bunch. I've took a few pictures here and there. You know, they got the full 108 megapixel. I did take some pictures of some like camera gear that I was selling. Came out looking absolutely amazing. This day and age, I don't think it matters what smartphone you get. Your camera is going to be good. You don't have to worry about anything when it comes to your camera, your video, your 8K, all of that stuff. I really haven't tested out. Once again, I've only had this thing for what, a week now. So a lot of time needs to go on. This is just most like my first impressions when it comes to this bad boy. And I think last but not least, we got to talk about battery, all right? Because that's another thing that can kind of be troublesome, especially when it comes to Samsung devices. And I'm gonna be real with you. I'm gonna go on the record and say this is probably some of the best battery life that I received on a Samsung Android device. Not fully on an Android device, but on a Samsung device. I think this battery does very well. If I leave out the day and I only had this phone with me on 100% in the beginning of the day, I feel like I can easily make it and I will have no battery anxiety at all. I think I can easily get through the day with this battery. And I don't even have anything turned off. I know there's tons of battery tips and tricks and everything. Look, I haven't done a single thing to this phone. I haven't turned any features off. I haven't disabled any apps. I haven't done anything. And this phone is working absolutely amazing with the battery. Everything's fine. I haven't had any issues. Standby drain, of course, it's not iPhone level, but it's something that is still there, but it's not terrible. I feel like it's more improved than it has ever been when it comes to Samsung devices. So battery life, if you're using this, and me and maybe a lot of you out there and other creators that you watch, we're not the norm. We're more heavy users. We're always on our phones. But take someone who doesn't use their phone as heavy, you have no problem lasting all day with this phone. I think you can easily get through the day and then some, in my opinion, with the S22 Ultra. So first impressions, man, this phone right here has simply been getting it done. Haven't really tried the speakers out. I really don't listen to much when you're talking about full-blown speakers. Fingerprint scanner works just fine. Face recognition works fine. I have a white stone dome tempered glass screen protector up here, so if you want to check that installation out, I'll be sure to link that above. Even with that on, it works fine. It works fast. Best in one of the best in display fingerprint scanners out there, man. Just works fine. Everything is good. This is a solid phone. This bad boy here isn't going nowhere. I know a lot of people think we get phones and return them and do all that stuff. Listen to what I'm saying. The S22 is going to be in my possession for a while. This bad boy won't be going anywhere because I really, really do like this. And I feel like we're still like on pre-release software. I feel like they haven't even rolled that official, hey, the S22 Ultra is in everybody's hands now. Let's go ahead and push out that update. I feel like we don't even have that yet. So this is the very beginning of what Samsung has to offer. I think this is peak when it comes to Samsung slabs. I mean, yeah, Samsung, you knocked out of the park so far with this phone. So more testing to go. We'll get into more to it. Maybe after a few weeks, 2-3 weeks, I'll do a video just speaking about the battery life alone. But right now, the S22 Ultra is probably my favorite Android device of all time. And that's no cap, no lie, no whatever you young kids want to say these days. I'm probably young myself, but not that young, a little bit old. But we about to get up out of here, man, technically T. But if you want to know about my experience later on with the S22 Ultra, especially using it besides something like the iPhone 13 Pro and 13 Pro Max, make sure you hit that subscribe button and make sure you turn that bell on. Also, if you're a person who's big into accessories, I got a lot of those, man. I'm going to get into a lot more when it comes to the S22. But everyone be safe. Catch you on the next one. Later.